Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of Subscriber Showcase. Wow, we're really getting through them now. This is the series where you get to show off your creations to the community and get some constructive criticism or just ideas on how to improve. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. Before I get into the video, a quick shout out to my patrons. A massive thank you to you. To find out what becoming a patron means and what it gets you, please check out the links under the video. So today we've got quite a big subscriber showcase. Not a lot of people have sent them in recently, but those who have sent in a lot of models to look at. So sit back, relax, and take a look at what we've got in store. Up first we've got Nathan. He says that he missed the last subscriber showcase, so here are some submissions for this one. First up, we've got the Academy 148 scale Messerschmitt BF 109K4. He says that it was a nice little kit that only needed a little bit of filler. This was his fourth attempt at airbrushing, and he thinks it turned out really well. The scheme is fictional, as he loves the E series schemes, and he wanted to try one on a K. He says he's very happy with the results. I think this aircraft looks fantastic, and you have done a great job of it. Well done. The next aircraft he sent in, he says was a quick build, but he again airbrushed them. All of the models he sent in are airbrushed. He says that it's in a semi-fictional scheme. He says the paint colours are right, but the registry number's a bit fictional. It's a Sea Gladiator, built from the Heller Gloucester Gladiator kit in 1/72nd scale. He says he had trouble fitting the bottom wings onto the fuselage, but generally it only needed a little bit of filler in places. He says he's happy with the masking down the side, but the grey on top is a bit dark. These points aside, I think you've done a great job with this Gladiator, and it reminds me of when I built my first Gladiator from Airfix. Up next, Nathan has also sent us a 1/144th scale Revell BAE Harrier. He says that it's not really much of a kit, and that it practically fell together. It was quick to paint and apply the decals. I agree with you, it does look like quite a simple kit and the paint scheme is quite simple as well, but this being said, you've done a fantastic job and it looks great. Up next, he says is easily the best kit he's ever built. He says he's a bit of a sucker for the Navy, especially Fleet Air Arm. This is a Smur kit, which is a rebox of the Vista kit. He used Tamiya paints to paint the model, but the interior was painted with Humbrol. He doesn't recommend airbrushing with Humbrol as it just splutters everywhere. He glossed it with Humbrol enamel spray gloss and then decaled it. He says they were very nice decals included in the kit. A final gloss coat was then applied and then he started to weather it. Although this was his first go at weathering, I think he's done quite a convincing job. The next one we've got to look at is a kit bash of spare parts, and he calls it Boris the Beetlebum. He says it was fun, but he doesn't really want to go into that. I feel like this one asks a few more questions than it actually answers here. It looks like a fun little kit, and I'd be interested to know more about what he's actually done to build this one. So please, Nathan, if you've got any more pictures or any more information about this one, send it over and I'd like to take a look. The final model he sent in for us to take a look at is his Airfix 1/72nd scale English Electric Lightning. He says it was a good kit to do. It did need a bit of filler on the nose, and a steady hand was required for some of the parts, but otherwise he loved building it. He used AK Extreme Metal Aluminium for the bare metal and Citadel blue paint for the tail. He says he built this one for his granddad as it was his favourite aircraft and he absolutely loves it. And I think you've done a great job with this aircraft because this Lightning looks spot on. So a massive thank you to Nathan, and if you'd like to follow him on Instagram, I'll add his username underneath. Up next we've got Francisco, who is also the Argentinian scale modeler on YouTube. So if you'd like to take a look, I'll add his channel underneath the video. He says he's got two aircraft to take a look at, and they're both in 1/48 scale. The first image depicts aircraft of the two highest scoring aces of World War II. Gerhard Bachon's FW190D9, which is from Hobbybus, and Erich Hartmann's BF 109G14 Edward. Apologies for the pronunciation if I butchered those. Both kits, he says, build well and have no fit issues. They were both brush painted with Revell acrylics. He says those are the best paints out there to use if you want to brush your models. He also would like to add that Eduard decals, unless they're printed by cartograph, stick firmly to the model surface and can't be repositioned, and that's how he lost the 2 crosses on the upper wings of the 109. That being said, I think these 2 aircraft look absolutely fantastic, and the blue background you've used really helps bring out the colours of the paint scheme. Next up, in the second image, he's continuing the Aces topic, and this is Charles Chuck Yeager's P-51D Glamorous Glen. The kit is Italeri's reboxed version of the Hasegawa P-51D, but he's also using Repliscale decals Yoxford Boys 5. The model was brush painted, first with white to give the metallic colour a good grip to the surface, then the checkerboards were also masked and brush painted since the provided decals were too big to be positioned properly. He says the only issue he had with this kit was a small gap on the wing root, which was solved by adding a spreader just in front of the cockpit. This is a great looking P-51. It's got some very clean lines and distinction between the different colours you've used there. So well done, Francisco, for sending them in, and a massive thank you to you. Next up we've got Gal, who comments that it's quite a funny name for a guy. He's sent in 2 models to take a look at. They are a Tamiya P-51D and an Airfix BF-109E4. He says that both of them were very good quality models with no major problems except a few mistakes on his part, but he still feels he did okay building them. First he built the BF-109 and he says it was a fantastic kit. He did make some mistakes, but it did turn out pretty well. He then moved on to the P-51D, which was his first kit from Tamiya, and he was very satisfied with it. He also made a diorama for the kit to go with. He just used some cardboard and got some moss from the garden to make the grass and a few other bits and pieces. He also added a little stone and a pilot figure just for a bit of extra fun. I think your diorama just goes to show that with a little bit of imagination, anything around you can be put to good use to get quite a realistic effect. As for the aircraft models, I think you've done quite a good job on them. Why not let Gal know what you think of his builds in the comments below? Thanks for sending those in. And finally, the last person to send something in for this week's episode is Elliot, and he has sent in pictures of his Scharnhorst model ship. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Elliot without going into too much detail, but he unfortunately was in an accident a little while ago, and he ended up in hospital as a result. He says that he'd never really been into scale model building, but whilst he was undergoing his recovery period, a friend of his introduced him to my YouTube channel. And he says that when he got out of hospital, all he wanted to do was go and build some models. And he says that my channel has helped him in his recovery. And I find that to be a very humbling thing. Because when I started this channel out, I never thought that I would be affecting people's lives. I thought it was just, a bit of fun and people would just watch it and maybe enjoy it. But to hear that someone's actually found a bit of comfort in what I'm doing and it's helped them in a difficult time in their life, I find that to be very humbling. And I'm glad that I've managed to help you in some small way in moving on from your tragic experience. I'm also quite glad that you've been introduced to a new hobby. So at this point now, he's been model making for around 3 months, and this is his first ship, the Scharnhorst. He's very happy with how it's turned out. It's all hand painted, and he built it in just under a week. So this model is from Revell. It's 1:570 scale, and I think that, bearing in mind you've not been modelling very long, and you've undergone a pretty traumatic time in your life, I think that you've done a fantastic job with this kit. I particularly like the fact that you've managed to get the deck quite a uniform colour, because I know that those areas can be quite difficult to paint, and you've managed to pick out some of the small details which for someone who's new to modelling would find very difficult. So thank you so much for sending in your submission, Elliot, and I hope that you continue to get better. And that's all we've got time for today. As always, if you'd like to get involved and send something in for this series, here's how you can do it. 1. Subscribe to my channel. 2. Email modelminutes@hotmail.com any high quality pictures, video, text or audio of your work. 3. Wait for the video featuring your work to go live. Please remember to send me any links for your YouTube channels, Twitter, etc. so I can include them in the videos. All that's left to say is thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.